Alright, I am back. So, now gonna be doing Andrew's route. Alright, here we go. Suddenly though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
As I placed my hand to his, he raised it to his lips and kissed over my knuckles. I felt my face burn slightly at the gesture. Andrew smiled at me before releasing my hand.
I'm honored to be invited here.
My mother smiled to both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh properly before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Huh? Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. I looked at Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something, whether it was good or bad. I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to the next to me with my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense.
So, you're Jared's
Here we
son.
go. Andrew's body became blah blah. Andrew's body twitched slightly, whether it was fear or insult. Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. This guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO. I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
Right.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
Wow.
If you'll excuse me.
Aww. Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. I quickly followed Andrew, wanting to be sure he was all right. I felt a little embarrassed that my dad put him on the spot like that. I had to apologize. We wound up outside. The stars practically danced on the grass. We stood in the backyard of the mansion. It had been my first time in years being out here, but my thoughts weren't on the nostalgia. Hey, Andrew? Andrew turned to me in surprise. However, his face was completely red, and both embarrassment and humiliation. It felt horrible.
Oh,
Terrible.
I didn't see you or hear you following. Sorry.
Aww. No, it's fine. I should be the one to apologize.
What for? You didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, for the way my dad behaved, he shouldn't have been so...
Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, I should have expected it and been more prepared.
Andrew rubbed the back of his neck and gave a goofy grin. It was intriguing seeing Andrew's professional side and then seeing the goofy smile away from everyone. Still, I'm sorry for that.
It's not a problem, really, but thank you.
We both smiled at each other before I reached my hand down to him. He tilted his head and raised an eyebrow in confusion. Laura, my name is Laura. In understanding, his smile returned before he took my hand gently and shook it.
That's a pretty name. I'm happy to know it now.
Nah, it's not that nice.
I have to disagree with you. It's much better than Andrew. I mean, who names their kid Andrew?
Oh god, he's one of those people. A lot of people do.
But how about Axel or Ace? Something cool like that.
Oh god, he's one of those people. I couldn't help but laugh at him. He was pretty chill for a guy who was supposed to be a vice chairman's son. He grinned and laughed along with me. I don't know why, but I felt warm, whether it was the almost non-existent breeze or the situation we both found ourselves in. It felt nice.
Lewis.
Oh god. And just like that, the feeling had vanished. We both turned to see my dad at the door of the mansion, staring at Andrew with almost a deadly glare. Andrew stared up, trying to maintain a business posture.
Yes, sir?
Your limo is in the front. The driver has requested that you return home. Now.
Yikes.
Oh, all right. Thank you, sir.
Andrew quickly nodded to me before speeding back to the mansion to leave. As I took a step to follow, my dad stepped in front of me. Oh, don't be a jerk.
I don't want to hear it. Do not become friendly with him. He wants to take the company away from us. You have no reason to be friends with him.
And who gives you the right to choose who her friends are, okay? Don't be a jerk. Before I could retort, my dad turned away and walked back inside, muttering about how the party was nearing an end. Who the hell gives him the right to choose who her friends can be and all that? That's bull. I sighed and entered the house as well, wanting for the party to end immediately. Alright, let's go to grandfather's grave. It was Sunday and I felt the need to see my grandfather. It had been 3 days since he had been buried and the cemetery was only a short walk away. I decided to see him. I took my time eating and headed out to the street and walked towards the cemetery. It was a good half-hour walk, but it would be a nice stroll. A flower shop was on the way so I could pick up flowers for the grave. I still felt a sting of grief run through my bones, but I knew that it would eventually fade over time. I paused my journey to the cemetery and entered the flower shop, quickly picking a bouquet from the back display case and paying. The bouquet of lilies, please. Thank you. With flowers in hand, I made my way to the large steel gates of John Joseph Cemetery. I entered and felt the cold shiver of death run through the air against my skin. Would it always be like this? The cemetery was a final resting place. It wasn't just for mourning or sadness. It was supposed to also be a place of remembrance. I sighed as I walked through the cemetery towards my grandfather's grave. Before I could reach it, though, I noticed a figure standing by the slab. Huh? Who's that? I stood up walking and tried to focus my sight to see who was standing at my grandfather's grave before I approached. I didn't want to interrupt with prayer or anything, but even more wanted to know who exactly was there. My mind barely considered the idea that it was my father, but it couldn't have been him. Familiar brown hair crowned this person's head instead of black and gray my father had. He was vaguely familiar. Andrew? It was indeed Andrew. He was dressed in casual clothes, but he was giving his respects to my grandfather. I was curious to why. I quickly stepped closer and approached the Andrew and the grave, being careful to not scare Andrew. At my footsteps, Andrew turned to see me, and realizing it was me, he turned fully to me.
Oh, Miss Anderson. I'm sorry.
No. You're fine. Andrew quickly shook his head and took a step to leave. You're fine, Andrew. It's okay. Did not mean to do that. I stopped him with a hand and smiled. He was merely paying his respects. There was no need for me to intrude. Andrew stared at me before smiling and nodding, returning to his place in front of the grave. He took a side step to make room for me, so I stepped next to him. I looked to the grave, running my gaze through the engraving in the stone slab before gently laying my bouquet down by it. However, I didn't stand back up. I gently sat down on the grass in front of the grave and stared at it.
Lilies?
Common flowers for gravestones. Yeah, my grandfather didn't have a favorite flower. I heard and felt Andrew gently crouch down and sit beside me. I turned my head to look at him, catching him nodding and acknowledging to my statement. I turned back to the grave, letting out a small sigh. So, can I ask why you came here?
I came to pay my respects. He was someone I really idolized.
Aww. I turned my head to him again, confused. Idolized?
Mm-hmm. He inspired me to work hard and make people happy. When I interned for his company, he was the first person to greet me at the doors with open arms, even before my father.
Wow. I almost couldn't believe what I was hearing. However, the look in Andrew's eyes made my heart break. She truly idolized my grandfather like he was his own grandfather.
Your grandfather was an amazing man, but I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. He treated me better than my dad ever could.
Aww.
All my dad cares about is me becoming the CEO. But Harold Anderson? No.
I could practically feel my lips move in sync with Andrew's as he continued to speak, almost hearing my grandfather speak alongside him in the air.
He said, "Don't worry about it so much. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy instead."
He said that to me too. Andrew turned to me in surprise before smiling.
Really? He cared a lot about you. There were days that he wouldn't stop talking about you and compared you to me.
Wow. I felt a blush run across my face. What things did he say?
Well, he told me how cute you were and how you loved to make people happy. He also said you always had the perfect ideas for his toys.
Sorry. Choked in my water. God. Sorry. I felt a smile grow on my face, remembering the small moments when I had helped him design his now most popular toy, the glowing heart bear. I didn't realize how proud of me he was because I was so small, but now that I was older, I was able to understand. He always had me help him, even when I didn't feel like I could. He was the greatest person ever in my life. He treated me better than my dad.
How does your dad treat you?
He's pretty harsh to me. He wants me to be the CEO of the company as well, since it's technically the family business.
He's strict, like my dad. Well, if it ever came to a time where the board had to decide a CEO, I'd gladly give it up for you.
Really? I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. Didn't he want the position? Why? Don't you want to be CEO? To my surprise, Andrew shook his head with a goofy smile.
I don't. My dad wants me to take over the Anderson company, but I really am not sure if I want to or not.
Really?
Sure, making toys is great and helping people is something I want to do, but I don't know if I want to head the company.
That's fair. You're not sure what you want to do, just like me?
You don't want to be a CEO either?
I shook my head. Andrew let out a small laugh.
Man, we must be the worst kids on the planet. Our dads want us to take over a company, but we don't even want to. Imagine what would happen if they actually liked each other.
I couldn't help but laugh with them. We were in the same boat, yet we were on opposite sides. It was like Romeo versus Juliet, two families competing for one goal, but the competitors, I can't pronounce that, didn't want to even try to reach that goal. Andrew gently stopped laughing and smiled at me.
Your grandfather was right about one thing, though. You are really cute.
Okay. The blush that had faded from my face suddenly returned at his words. I looked away from him, making him laugh again.
Sorry, it's true. Cross my heart.
Oh my god, dude. Thanks. He was flattering me. I had to admit he was cute too, but I had only known him for a short while. It wasn't realistic to like him more than that. Andrew cleared his throat and sat up straight, rubbing the back of his neck.
I'll let you have some time with your grandfather. I don't have anywhere to be, so I'll wait by the gates and give you a ride home when you're done.
All right. Thank you. It was very sweet of him to wait for me, so I accepted his ride home. Andrew smiled before heading back to the gates. I remained with my grandfather. I'm sure you're laughing where you are, Grandpa. I practically glared at the grave, but after a brief second I smiled. He's a sweet guy, and he's a big fan of yours who wouldn't be you cared for everyone no matter who they were. I gently ran a finger over one of the lilies in the bouquet. It was soft to touch, but my mind was filled with Andrew for some reason. Was this grandfather's plan? Did he hope for me to meet Andrew as a kindred spirit? I wouldn't be surprised. I chuckled softly before standing. I'll be fine, Grandpa. Andrew's a good guy, but who knows? Oh god, dude. I shrugged before letting out a sigh and turning back to the cemetery gate where Andrew awaited me. Andrew led me to his car and drove me home. I went to my room and blah 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 words. I went to my room and remained there until dinner. I can't say words, good grief. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but it felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still I felt lonely. I couldn't let it bother me, though. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed that night. I felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the peaceful rough nights I had. I felt good. My mind, blah 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 blah. My mind began to wander. Were the memories truly worth my life? I remembered the way the boys helped me organize the house party and helped me home after Alex's ordeal. But then I remembered that I'm only human. I wasn't a demon and I wasn't special. The world of magic was too large for me. I already had a world to face without magic being involved. I felt a wave of sadness run through me, replaying the memories of all that had happened in the past few days one last time before speaking up. Fine, take my memories. I couldn't keep them. They were beyond my world. They were beyond what I needed to know. I was never meant to know them. Diana nodded.
Glad you understand now.
All right, Diana. The pit beast below me closed its jaw, vanishing into nothing as I was lowered to the ground. I stood up straight and looked at Diana resolved. Diana sighed before closing her hand and muttering Latin phrases under her breath, loud enough for me to barely hear. She then opened her hand and revealed a small purple vial. What's this?
A memory potion. It will remove all of the memories of demons and magic from your mind. With the memories gone, you can live your life as free as you want.
Okay. A memory? Blah, blah. What about the boys?
I have a spell for them. As soon as you drink that potion, you sign your contract with me, and I will take the boys back to where they belong.
Okay. Will they remember me?
I'll make sure they won't. They won't even remember ever thinking about coming to the human world.
Why didn't you use this used it before now. Why do I have to drink it knowingly?
Because demon magic isn't black and white, dear. The one catch is that the potion has to be drunk with full natural consent. So I
Fair.
can't just slip it into your chocolate milk or pour it into your mouth as you sleep. That's the downside of good succubus magic.
That's fair. So I'll be...
A plain, boring human. No potential, no abilities, no memories to even have abilities. You'll be a plain Jane girl in a plain Jane world.
Okay then. I nodded before looking to the vial of my memory in exchange for my humanity. I popped the cork of the vial and gingerly brought it to my lips. Goodbye magic, goodbye demons, goodbye strange future. Hello normalcy. I tilted my head back and chugged the drink down, feeling its magic already started its work, as it reached the inside of my mouth. I felt dizzy and sick, but I sucked down every last drop of the liquid. I felt the memories of the boys fade away. I never met them in my house, and I never was attacked by Malix. I was never kidnapped, and I never met Diana. As I finished drinking, I felt my body grow weak, almost becoming unable to continue standing up. My vision was blurred and fuzzy, and I couldn't help but let my eyes shut. I asked for this. I wouldn't have the boys protecting me anymore. Goodbye, incubi brothers. I didn't even open my eyes when I finally fell forward into Diana's arms.
It's for your own good, sweetie. Forget about it and be normal. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. I felt my mind slowly relax. There were no demons, no devils, no magic to drive me crazy. Everything was normal, peaceful, and ordinary. Just the way Diana wanted. Just the way I wanted it. Eventually, the morning arrived and the sun screamed at me to get up. Surprisingly, I woke up before my alarm clock, which was nice. I've done that many times than I can count. I stretched out and quickly got dressed, getting ready for school. I went over in my mind what had happened over the weekend, suddenly feeling weary. I had moved in Friday night, held a house party held a house party Saturday, and enjoyed my day Sunday. Yep, sounds right. I scooped up my bag and headed downstairs to the dining room. The room was empty and I felt hungry. I needed to eat something. I looked to my phone and saw a text I must have completely forgotten about.
Hey, I know you have school today, but do you want to hang out after?
Hi, Andrew. I couldn't help a small smile from growing on my face. Andrew was sweet and seemed like a good guy. He's so sweet. I remembered how he gave me his number as he dropped me off at home from a visit to grandfather's grave, making my smile grow bigger. I chuckled and texted back. Sure, why not? I made myself some quick toast and coffee, needing a jump start. I felt drained, and I did not want to fall asleep in class. You have no idea how many times I felt that way in some classes I had with wanting to not fall asleep. Something bothered me though. My house felt empty, or at least emptier than when I came for some reason. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it slightly bothered me. I finished my food and quickly rushed to the front, waiting for Naomi's car, and confident that nothing was going to happen. I avoided talking about what had happened yesterday. I'll be riding with you guys to and from school. As we entered the school, we quickly gathered our things from our lockers and headed to class. There were no events to my surprise. Naomi and Suzu took their seats around me, Suzu in front of me and Naomi beside me. Before the class bell rang, the class was greeted by our teacher. History wasn't as boring as economics, but I still managed to space out in that class just the same. Me. I decided to keep my eyes to my notebook. I began to scribble random doodles, some which stuck to me more than others. I had somehow managed to doodle a small bear with a heart on its stomach. I wish I could draw that, but I can't. I cracked a small smile at the image, imagining the heart lighting up on my paper as I pressed the eraser of my pencil on it. I remembered what had happened last week, slowly frowning at the memories of my grandfather. I guess it was still hard to let him go. To lose someone is never easy, but I never knew that moping and letting his memory get to me wouldn't do any good. I felt, though, that he was watching over me. As stupid as that may sound, I felt that I was somehow safe. Like it was okay to not focus on school or my future and just live on my own little world. I could be a little girl and draw pictures instead of plan out the rest of my life and be perfectly happy. Sadly, I knew that wasn't realistic. Graduation was slowly coming up and my mind had wandered into the future once again. What was I going to do? It was hard to think about at this rate. I just wanted to wing it. No decisions had to be made ahead of time in my little world. No disappointments would come out of whatever I decided to do with my little world. Hell, maybe I could have found a perfect magical love in my little world and life would turn out like a dream. It was sad to think that my world wasn't real, yet my heart still wished that it was. It gently squeezed inside my chest, almost convincing me that magic could be real. My mind knew better. I let out a small sigh before letting my little world hide away in my thoughts as the class bell rang. Naomi and Susie smiled at me, making me feel a little bit better. At least I still had my friends. Oh, throughout the day, I found myself wondering about my future. What was I going to do? How was I going to do it? Everything. Then Andrew came to mind. He and I were in the same position. We both were in line to take the CEO position, but neither of us needed it or wanted it. It was adorable to think about it, true. A strange Romeo and Juliet.
Hey, are you listening?
I broke out of my thoughts, finding myself in the hall with my things ready to head home. Yeah, I'm fine, girls.
Dude, you've been spacing out all day. Are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. As I expected, Naomi and Suzu gave me a disapproving looks.
What's going on, Anderson? We're just worried about you.
It's nothing really. Before I could continue, I heard Lisette's gaggle girls giggling nearby. I prepared myself ready to fight Lisette or deal with another attack from her girl army before turning to the sound. God damn it, Lisette, will you just leave me alone? I felt my face go red at the sight. Oh, they were giggling about Andrew. Okay. Andrew was standing in the hall smiling at me. The girls around him seemed flirtatious, but he only kept his eyes on me. It wasn't like he was holding flowers, but his older looks made him the cutie of the school hall. Oh god. I will be honest, he was much more handsome than any guy in the school. Andrew, hi!
Hey, I was waiting outside for you, but I needed to use the restroom. I hope you don't mind me coming into your school for that, right?
No, it's fine. Oh my god, Naomi and Susie's faces. Oh god. Not at all. Andrew smiled at me before gesturing to my friends who both practically had their jaws hitting the floor. Oh my god, dude.
And who are your friends?
Oh, this is Naomi and Suzu.
Pleasure. Yo.
Yo. Oh, they're both adorable. They looked at me, giving me their silent friendship. Oh my god, who is that hot guy and how do you know him? Look. I glared for a half second at each of them before smiling to Andrew. So you came to pick me up?
Yeah, I figured I could drive you from school to wherever, you know? Save some time and stuff. Unless you don't wanna.
No, it's cool. Just give me a couple seconds, alright?
For sure. I'll be outside.
Alright. Andrew smiled and gave a two-fingered salute. Oh, cute. To me before heading out of the hall. The girls, like a gaggle of morons, followed. As I looked at Naomi and Suzu, they glared at me. What?
How do you know that guy? When did you two meet? You've been hogging guys to yourself.
Bro! It's not like that, okay? We met at the house party. My mom introduced us, and, well, he's kind of nice. Naomi and Suzu raised their eyebrows at me in almost perfect sync. I sighed. Look, we're just friends, and he wanted to hang out, so I said yes, okay? It's just for today. It's nothing, really.
Whatever you say. Just
What?
remember to use rubber.
Suzu! Bro! Okay. Did not. Okay. Suzu, I love you, but my god. You guys! Before I could defend myself, Lisa strutted up to me, crossing her arms.
So, who was that? A college boy?
Lisa,
Back off, Lisette. I'm really not in the mood to hear your voice right now, and neither is Anderson.
I just wanted to know. Can a girl be curious?
Be
curious, but don't pry.
I can feel something go sour. Something wasn't right. Why was Lisa approaching us? She wasn't the type to talk to us freely. I looked around to see a small gaggle of girls gathered, glaring at my friends and me ready to pounce. I also noticed that Susan, Naomi, and I were concerned. What do you want, Lisa?
Well, Anderson, I'm getting a little tired of this game. For years now, we've been at each other's throats.
Excuse me?
Yeah, excuse me. Lisa.
Shut it, Capini. The point is, let's let go of the past, shall we? We're both different people, and we're gonna graduate soon. I don't want to graduate with bad blood between us.
Lisa, almost like a cliche chick flick, Lisa held her hand out to me with a smile. Was she joking? After all we had been through, she plotted to her girls to tease us, to make us miserable. She was the mastermind behind any operations against me. Years of her trying to undermine me because we both were top of our classes and she wanted to shake hands? This wasn't like her at all. I rushed my gaze over to her, trying to see what was different. Was she tricking me? Was she being held in some kind of knife point? My eyes landed on a small purple pencil sticking out of her pocket. For some reason, it caught my eye. I knew something was up with it, but it was just a pencil. What could be up with a pencil?
Hello?
I snapped out of my trance and looked up at Lisa, who was glaring at me.
Are you going to shake my hand, or what?
I was better than her, beyond better than her. She didn't deserve my hand, but I gave it anyway. Fine, let's let the past be the past. Lisa smiled before stepping back. It was strange, but the smile seemed genuine and complex.
Good. Bye, Anderson.
Bye. And with that, Lisa and her girl groupies left me and my friends alone. I wasn't the only one confused by the whole ordeal.
What just happened?
Did Lisette just try to...
Be a better person? Yeah.
Please don't tell me you forgave her so easily.
I needed to let it go. She wanted to move on, and from the looks of it, she wouldn't bother me and my friends anymore. It was time to forgive and forget. I'm just seeing what would happen if I forgive her. Was it a good choice? I believed it was. I continued down the hall with Susie and Naomi right beside me.
So, what about this guy? You're going on a date?
It's just hanging out.
So we can come with, right?
No way,
No.
Suzu. You have to babysit Francesca, and I have to go to a college interview.
Thanks, Naomi. I turned and smiled at my friends. Trust me, I'll be fine. It's just hanging out. I'll text you both when I get home. Like a pair of adorable parents, Naomi and Suzu nodded before heading out, leaving me to head after Andrew. Oh god, I love Naomi and Suzu. They're so adorable. I smiled to see him lean against his car waiting. He seemed alright, and luckily he wasn't surrounded by girls. Andrew smiled and waved me over. I rushed over and smiled back. Hi.
Hi.
Like a gentleman, Andrew opened my door for me, gesturing me inside. I stepped inside and sat down before he closed the door and circled to get into the driver's side. He pulled out of the parking lot and began to drive to where I didn't know, but I trusted Andrew to stay local since it was just hanging out.
Look, I know this seems weird, me picking you up and stuff, but I promise you'll love where we're going.
Okay. And where are we going exactly?
It's a cafe. The Pink Lady Cafe.
Oh.
Best cinnamon rolls around, and their coffee is to die for.
About that, we've already been to the Pink Lady Cafe. Sorry, Andrew. I've actually been there before.
Really?
Aww.
Oh, crap. I thought it would be a surprise.
Aww.
Damn.
Cute. I laughed. He seemed to want to impress me. Why, though? Because he likes you. It's adorable. I let the idea slip as we fell back into silence. It was peaceful, but at the same time, I didn't know how to talk to Andrew. The only thing that connected us was the company and my grandfather. He was funny, sure, but he was still somewhat of a stranger. Andrew let out a laugh. I didn't know what was so funny, but seeing him laugh made me laugh a bit too.
I'm a doofus. I don't watch sports. I barely know anything about sports.
Fair. Same here, me. Not even if you're a Cubs or a Sox fan?
I'm from the north side. Take a guess.
Ah, so Cubs.
That's right.
We both laughed again. Chicago sports talk was a silly topic, but it was a start. It was better to chat on the road than listen to the car buzz.
You know, my mom always thought I'd go into sports. My dad wrecked that dream of hers real quick when he sent me to college prep. Meh,
Yikes.
That was 6 years ago, though.
Really? How old are you?
I'm 20, turning 21 in July. Why?
And you're in line for the CEO position so young.
Why not? You are too, remember?
And suddenly I did remember. I was 18 and being pushed to be CEO. My dad would force me to try and take the position right after I graduated. I sighed at the thought.
Did I say something wrong?
No, you're good, Andrew. It's nothing. I saw Andrew's lips pressed together. He was blaming himself. Oh, don't blame yourself. Shoot, I opened my mouth to say something before he smiled.
Well, just so you know, I'm the kind of guy that likes to stop the microwave at 1 second just to feel like I'm defusing a bomb. Pretty cool, huh?
He's such a dork. Oh gosh, you're such a dork. I couldn't help but laugh. Where did that come from?
Well, you sighed, so I took a risk and tried to make you smile. I got a laugh, so 10 bonus points for me.
Oh my god, you're such a dork. I laughed and smiled at him as he kept his eyes to the road. He also had a smile, though. The same goofy grin he had before. I had to admit it was cute. However, the car suddenly began to play a song suddenly. I watched as Andrew effortlessly moved his hand from the wheel and pressed a button on his dash. His phone was connected to his car?
Andrew Lewis speaking.
Andrew, can you come to the office for a little bit? Your father needs a few folders and he left them here. They're in the meeting room.
Okay.
Really? Crap. Okay, I'll be there shortly.
He pressed the same button on his dash and sighed, slumping his shoulders.
I'm sorry. Can we stop by the Anderson office really fast? It's on the way and it'll be really quick.
No, it's fine. It's okay. Sure. Andrew nodded for traveling towards the city. I had only seen the building once, but it was the base of the operations for the Anderson Toys Company. I never went inside, and I truly was unsure if I ever wanted to. I'd have to eventually, but until then I remained ignorant of how the office looked. There was curiosity, yes, but I didn't know if I wanted to follow through with it. We pulled into We pulled into the parking lot of a gigantic office building with the company's name in bold letters at the top. I had to roll down my window to peek my head out to see the top. Again me. Yep, still as big as I remembered it.
I'll zip in and zip out. It's just to pick up some documents, nothing special.
Okay. I'll go in too.
Huh? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, might as well see the inside after 18 years. I exited, blah, blah. Exited the cart and closed the door, walking to be at Andrew's side. The building was huge, I had to admit, but I needed to feel the curiosity in my gut. What was it like on the inside? Andrew and I made our way inside and he guided me to where he needed to go, all the while I took in the sight that was a corporate office, but it had the hit of fun flair with toys in every corner on every desk. I felt a smile grow on my face at the sight. This was my grandfather's company, all right. Andrew and I entered the meeting room where the pile of folders topped with a strangely familiar purple pencil sat neatly on the table.
All right, there they are. Let's get them and...
What is going on here?
Oh, are you for real? Come on. Really? My blood ran cold at the voice. I'd know that voice anywhere. Can't you just leave this poor kid alone? I turned to see my very angry father glaring at me and Andrew and blocking the doorway out. Andrew turned with the documents and he needed in hand, almost dropping them at the sight of my dad.
Mr. Anderson,
Louis, why is my daughter with you?
Like that's any of your business?
Well, sir, that is... I was just...
Stop mumbling!
I recognized those words and grew furious at the sound of them leaving his mouth. Why was he so mad? What was wrong about me being with Andrew? Right, what is wrong with that? He has no right to choose who she hangs out with. What was his deal? Speak up. Enough was enough. I stepped forward, placing myself between my dad and Andrew. I came with Andrew after school where we were going to go out to a cafe together.
What did I tell you about?
When do you get to decide who I'm with? I don't live under your roof anymore. I live in grandfather's house. I can take care of myself. I can choose who I can be close to. I could practically feel red anger rise to my dad's face, but at this rate I didn't care. He had been controlling me for long enough. I don't have to listen to you anymore. I have my own life now. I can go to college and get a degree and do what I want. I guess I have you to thank for making me work endlessly for good grades and scholarships. I felt my courage bubble in my gut. I was finally able to fully speak my mind. I wasn't in his house anymore. I was my own woman. The moment you made me move out was the moment you gave up your right to decide what I do with my life. If I want to go to college and travel, then I can go to college and travel. If I want to give up my running for the CEO title, I can give up my running for the CEO title. If I want to meet with Andrew for cinema roles, then I'm going to meet with Andrew for cinema roles. My dad stepped back, staring wide-eyed at me. I felt like the slap he gave me was repaid tenfold just with my words. I wasn't a child anymore. I wasn't his pawn anymore. I could do what I wanted to do. Come on, Andrew, let's go. I began to walk toward my father, who stepped back and let me and Andrew pass without another word. I continued walking, retracing Andrew's steps to find the exit of the building. Finally, she stood up for herself. As we reached the car, I let out a large chunk of air I was holding in before getting in. Andrew followed into the driver's seat and looked at me.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm much better now.
Let me just say, that was pretty cool.
I smiled and gently nudged him. Come on, let's go get some cinnamon rolls. Lily and Kay greeted us with happy smiles, giving us cinnamon rolls and coffee practically on the house. I was pretty convinced Kay thought this was a date and wanted to make the situation more romantic than it needed to be. Nevertheless, Andrew and I chatted about ourselves right after college prep. He interned for the Anderson company and gained my grandfather's favor. His dad took advantage and got Andrew a job in the company part-time. However, Andrew only worked there to learn more about grandfather versus actually trying to learn about how to be CEO. I was almost jealous. Soon, though, we had spent the entire afternoon together and it was getting dark and cloudy. Andrew drove me home, picking us up some Paradise Parlor for dinner, his treat. We stopped at the gates where Andrew walked up to the front door.
I had a fun time. Thanks for coming out and having some coffee with me.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for bringing me out. I smiled as Andrew nodded to me, turning to head for his car. I stood there watching him leave when the rain started to fall. Andrew unfortunately was caught under the sudden rain and started racing to his car. As I turned to unlock my door, I heard him stop running.
Wait!
What? I turned back to see him facing me through the rain. He was getting soaked, but he remained looking at me with almost an adoring look in his eyes. What is it? Andrew quickly ran over, stopping as he reached at the awning of the mansion and stared at me. He was totally drenched from the rain, but he didn't seem to care.
Can I be stupid for a moment?
Be stupid and a dork? Okay. I guess.
Listen, you're probably the most interesting woman I've ever met. You're not afraid to be you, and that part of you makes you adorable.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Was he confessing to me? This was beyond surreal, but he continued.
I know this is stupidly crazy, but I really like you, and I know we've only just met. But I really want to be your friend, and maybe more, but if you're not cool with that, that's okay. I mean, you're way out of my league and stuff, so I'll understand.
Okay. Holy crap, he was confessing? I stared wide-eyed at him as he confessed. What was I going to say? We had just met, but he was cute and funny, and a dork. What was even weirder was that he reminded me of myself. He had an overbearing father, and the one person that cared was grandfather. Andrew didn't know his future, and neither did I. It was scary how similar we were. Maybe it was a sign. I could hear my grandfather's laughter replayed from a distant memory. Was this whole thing set up by him? Was he setting this up now? Andrew or not, I could only set my mind on what was happening now. Andrew had laid out his feelings for me, and I had to reply. The question was, what was I going to say? Why not? He was cute and funny, and we seemed to work well together. I smiled at him, and he smiled back with his goofy smile.
Wait, really? Really? Great! Wow! I totally thought I was being stupid and was gonna get kicked in the shin or something.
Oh God, you're such a dork. I felt myself let out a laugh. Why would I kick you to the shin?
I don't know. Stupid thought, huh?
Oh God. Andrew and I laughed before I unlocked the door. Come on, let's get you dried up. The rain should pass soon so you can stay over until it does.
Oh no, I couldn't possibly.
I insist. Andrew smiled gently and nodded before stepping into the house after me.
Hey, didn't you have servants and stuff?
Oh, so it looks like Diana only took her memories, not everyone else's. That's weird. Huh? What do you mean?
Huh? Never mind. Must have been a party arrangement thing.
Months went by since Andrew's confession. We were happy, and eventually my graduation came along. The rest of the story could almost be passed over. I graduated from school as one of the top 10 students in my class. My family was proud, even my dad. Maybe it was because I did my best in school, or maybe it was because I was finally a woman in his eyes. Good. Andrew, who later became my boyfriend, worked hard at the company, but often took time off to be with me. We ended up going out and learning about each other more and more as each day went by. As for his family, his mother was extremely happy that he finally got a girlfriend. Surprisingly, I was his first. This to me was shocking. Okay. His father wasn't too thrilled, but after I introduced myself and got to know his parents, his dad came to love me like a daughter. Aww. But what of my future? Well, with Andrew's support, I finally decided to stand up for myself. A year after I graduated, Andrew and I presented our cases, and the board decided to have Andrew step into the CEO position of the Anderson Toys Company. My father was beyond shocked. I congratulated Andrew and went to the University of Chicago to get a degree while Andrew dedicated himself full-time to the company. Andrew vowed to respect the wishes of the late CEO and help the company become an even grander company. Andrew had a large amount of heart, so it was easily accomplished. My grandfather would have been proud to see how Andrew helped it shine. True. With the CEO position filled, my father had no choice but to let me decide for my future, which made me happy beyond compare. Good. No longer would I have the future scared me into the corner. I could choose my life on my own. That being said, I was still scared to where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help Andrew, or did I want to venture off on my own? Andrew reassured me that he would support me and help me through whatever I decided to do. I was grateful and would never forget that promise. I was happy and nothing could shake me down from the happiness. Aww. One morning, a good couple of years after Andrew and I started going out, I woke up and took in all that had happened as if it was all a dream. My life seemed to fall perfectly into place. It was almost surreal.
Is everything as you wanted, sweetie?
Diana? I sharply turned my head to see a woman dressed in a gold-black gown with she looks very pretty in, just saying, staring at me with unnatural red eyes. For some reason, I felt as if she was familiar. I just couldn't place my finger on it. She twirled around a small purple pencil, smiling to me with a happy look. I, however, wasn't happy to have an intruder. Who are you?
There's no need to worry about who I am. I just wanted to make sure you got what you desired. I didn't want to just leave you empty-handed.
What I desired? This was making no sense, yet in my heart I felt like it did. Something about her was making my heart both elated and angry, but I couldn't pin down why. However, how did she even appear in my room in the first place? Whoever you are, you need to leave. I will not hesitate to call the police.
Oh, I'm leaving, all right. I just wanted a small pick-me-up. Chasing down boys and bringing them home was a hard job and took a lot out of me.
Okay. I felt suddenly weak staring at the woman. I felt warm and fuzzy inside my body, and I wanted the woman to cure me. Why was I feeling like this?
Would you mind if I steal a little kiss for the road? It'll be a long trek to where I'm going, and I need to make sure I have the energy to get there. It's only fair since I helped you get your little happy ending, no?
My gosh, Diana. I felt myself nod. What was I doing? The woman smiled before walking over, leaning over me and kissing my cheek. I felt waves of energy deflate from my body through my cheek. I felt elated and confused, but I almost moaned at the feel of the kiss. Diana, I swear. After a short moment, the woman finally stepped away with a lick of her lips. She rubbed a finger over her lips as she stepped away from me. I couldn't help but stare blankly at her in surprise and confusion.
Lovely. Now, this is the last time you'll see me. I hope you and your sweet Andrew have a wonderful life together.
And Diana, I love you, but oh my goodness, wow, okay. The woman placed the purple pencil into the cleavage of her dress and began to leave the room. I was too stunned to move, but I watched as the woman opened my balcony window, floated up, and dropped from the balcony.
And thus, my price is paid.
I heard her voice echo in my mind before I heard the snapping of a pencil, breaking my thoughts. What was I thinking about? Oh, yes, my life. I let my mind wander to my future before my phone started ringing. I instantly picked it up. Hello?
Hey, can you come over to the office? I need your help in something.
Yeah, sure. What's wrong?
Come over and I'll explain.
Okay. I'll see you in a bit. I grew worried. What was wrong? Did something happen? My mind began to sort through possibilities that could have occurred with Andrew. Luckily, I learned how to drive and got a car as a graduation gift from my mother. How she managed to get me a brand new car without Dad knowing was beyond me. Right? I quickly drove over and ran through the building, being led to a room with my parents, Andrew's parents, and Andrew himself. Huh? What's going on? I watched as my father stood up and walked over to me. I watched and waited. What was he going to do? To my surprise, my father kissed my head and smiled down at me. Dad?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
I've been hard on you practically all your life, and here you are doing what you want to do. Are you happy?
Aww. Very much so. My dad's smile was foreign, but I felt major elation just seeing it. Maybe it was sappy to say, but I never imagined I would see a smile like this on him.
I love you, sweetie. You may not have followed the path I wanted you to follow, but if you're happy in the end, then there's nothing else that would make me happier.
I felt my eyes water. Did he really say the 3 words I never thought he would say to me? Was this really happening? Oh. My dad kissed my forehead before getting back to stand near Andrew's father. I looked at Andrew very confused but grateful to have heard those words. What's going on, Andrew?
You know I love you, right?
Yes, and I love you too. Before I knew it, Andrew walked over to me and held my hand, staring. I stared up at him, wondering what was going on.
I love you a lot. You're sweet, funny, courageous, and absolutely wonderful. I couldn't have asked for a better girlfriend.
Aww. Andrew. Andrew brought my hands to his lips and kissed over my knuckles.
It's been a couple of years since we've been going out, hasn't it?
Yes, it has, Andrew. You're avoiding the question.
I know, but for good reason.
Okay. And what reason is that? Andrew smiled and took a small box from his pocket. I stared wide-eyed as he opened it before me and got on one knee. He's proposing! Aww.
This is all very sudden, I know, but I want you to know that I care for you so much, and I want to continue caring for you as long as I live. I definitely don't deserve you.
Aww.
But will you marry me?
I felt my heart beating wildly in my chest. He was proposing. I couldn't stop myself from jumping up and down in happiness. Yes, I will. Aww. Andrew smiled widely up at me as tears started falling down my cheeks. He stood and wrapped his arms around me before he kissed me lovingly. I felt Andrew slip the ring onto my ring finger as I kissed back. Uncaring of the cheering going on in the room, I could hear that more people had entered and started celebrating our engagement, but I didn't mind. Andrew gently pulled away and smiled down at me.
I love you.
Feeling bold, I stretched up on my tiptoes, kissing him with the same amount of love he gave me. He was shocked, but as I felt him relax in my arms, he kissed me back. I didn't want to wake up that this was indeed a dream. I felt light as a feather, not wanting to ever let go of this man in my arms. There was no words that could describe the emotions within me. I felt joy, happiness, ecstatic, high, all at once. Here I was, holding the man I wanted to be with for the rest of my life like nothing else mattered. I vowed to cherish him and love him for the remainder of my days and beyond. And that was my happily ever after. Andrew's proposal. Alright, so we have finished all the routes that I wanted to do for Seduce Me The Otome. And either Monday or Tuesday, I will actually start with Seduce Me To The Demon War. We will be doing Sam's route first, because Sam was the first guy that I romanced with when I first played this game. So, yeah. I'm going to see who I can raid. Alright, let's raid Case. I'm gonna go raid Case, and I will see you guys either on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how I feel. See you guys later. Bye!